Now student, we will see the new keyword, that is this. We have already seen the super keyword in the calling the constructor. In the same way, this is a keyword that we can use when it has the two use. The first one calling the constructor, and the second use it to access the instance variable when it collides with the local variable. So for example, the class is called as the rectangle. We have the two instance data member x and y and two instance data member width and height. So total 4 data members. We have the three constructor. The three constructors are overloaded constructor. The first constructor is a default constructor as it is not taking any parameter. The second constructor is taking the 2 parameters, and the third constructor is taking the 4 parameters. So what ultimately we want is, whenever we will create an instance of the rectangle, maybe without passing any parameter while creating the object, or passing the 2 parameters or passing the 4 parameters, whatever the thing is, we want the constructor, the third constructor should be executed, and we should initialize our x, y as well as the width and height data member. So for this, so what is going to happen, we will use the this keyword. So here, whenever we will, in the main, we will create a reference variable and we will create an object. So the memory for the object is going to be created and the reference is going to be stored in the reference variable called as a ref. So whenever we will call this constructor, it will call the default constructor. In the default constructor, we have used this keyword for calling the constructor of the same class. So you should be very clear that super keyword is used to call the constructor of immediate parent class, but this keyword is used, or this call is going to be used to call the constructor of the same class. So here we will see this and we will send the 4 parameter. So my control right now transfer from this line to this particular constructor, and it will initialize my x data member to the local variable, that is x. So if we are writing like this dot this equal to x, so we are initializing the local variable with the local variable. So if we want to access the version of the data member which has the same name as your local variable, so we have to use this dot x. So now it will access the x data member, and you are initializing that x to the local variable, that is x. So in this way, this dot y is equal to y. So this is the second use of what this keyword, and calling the constructor of the same class is the first use of the this keyword, and this dot data member is the second use of the this keyword to access the data member version of that particular variable. Here again the width is colliding with what the parameter. So again we are accessing the data member width by using this keyword, and the local variable width value is initialized to the data member. Same with the height, and after that we will see that the system.out we are printing x, y, width and height. So in this way, in the main we have called we have created the 3 constructors. We have created the 3 objects. So right now the first one is calling what the default constructor. Second is what passing the 2 constructor. Here my 10 value is, x value is 10. This is 1, this 30, and this is what the 40, suppose. So in this way we will create this. Now we will execute the code in some interpreter. So here we will again call what the constructor. X value is 10, y value is 20, this is 40, and we will see this and we will run it. So you can see that it will call the corresponding constructor. In that constructor again we have used this is going to be called the third constructor, and we will initialize the members and we will display the x, y, width and height. So in the first case the x is initialized to the 0, y is initialized to the 0, and width is initialized to the 1, and the height is initialized to the 1. So we will display, or we will get the 0 0 1 1 on the terminal. In the second call, my second constructor is going to be invoked, where width is initialized to the 10 and the height is initialized to the 20, and in that again we are calling the third constructor, and the x is going to be initialized to the 0, y is going to be initialized to the 0, and width is going to be initialized to the 100, and the height is going to be initialized to the 200. Now after that, in the third call we have assigned the values to x, y, width and height. So x is what the initialized to the, this correspondingly third constructor is going to be invoked. The x is initialized with the 10, y is initialized with the 20, width is initialized with the 30, and height is going to initialize with the 40, and we will get what the 10, 20, 30, 40. So in this way we can use the this keyword in the constructor calling like the super, but the super is going to be called the constructor of the immediate parent class. This call is going to call the constructor of the same class. Now the next rule in the inheritance is, in the constructor the first line can be this or can be super, but it cannot be both. Okay, so you cannot say I will write this, after that I will have the super call, or I will call the super then this. So that kind of the facility is not there. In constructor you can write this or super call. You cannot write the both calls.